presents School is Now in Session.
Welcome to Homeschooled Podcast.
Homeschooled.
The Homeschooled Podcast. Why? Because he was homeschooled.
It's time to document the journey.
Welcome back to Homeschooled Podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. We missed you. We hope you're having a great week. I want to welcome back to the show Rick Ramos. It's been a long time since you've been on, and it's good to see you. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We know you got a lot of options for podcasts, so it means the world to us that you're here. Really quickly, I just want to, thank everybody who's been coming to the shows. These are pre-recorded, so right now I'm probably somewhere in the middle of Dubai. May 11th through the 21st, I'll be in Dubai. So if you guys are in that area, you can get tickets at homeschooled.com. Click on tour. But when I come back, I'll be in Salt Lake City, Utah, June 5th. And then I'm going to Austin, Texas, June 11th and 12th. And then I end June in Paso Robles on the 19th, which is the day before Father's Day. So one night only, 2 shows, Father's Day weekend, and in Paso Robles, a little beer tasting and comedy. Never hurt nobody for Father's Day. And besides that, while you're over there at homeschoolpod.com, make sure you pick up a t-shirt and click on merch. We have some awesome t-shirts, including our brand new design, which is named after my tour this year, Only Love Can Save the World Tour. It's a really dope logo, even if you don't know who the hell I am or my podcast. It's just a cool little shirt, and people have really been buying it, and I really appreciate that. And if you guys tag me on Instagram, be like, hey, dude, here's me wearing your shirt, or the sticker, or the mask, whatever. It just kind of motivates me to keep going. I love that stuff. Welcome back, Rick. Thanks so much, dude. How's Phoenix?
It's hotter than hell out here. It's only getting worse. It hit 100. I think it hit 97, 98 around there. Tomorrow it's going to be 101. So I'm home, man. I've been gone 21 years, and it's a weird kind of amnesia when you're like, oh, yeah, this is what I left. I left this for a reason. This is a horrible lizard people place. It's
the beginning of May.
Yeah. Well, I've been here about a year now, so it's like I went through the summer. I moved back here in the summer.
This is your last
was
summer.
Miserable. So, but I got through that first summer. Now I got to do it again, and the fall was unnaturally hot. I mean, this is not the kind of place that you want to come because whatever you want to say about global warming, I believe it because
it's getting hotter.
Is hotter than it's ever been in my entire. I'm miserable. That's all I can say.
Really? Yeah, man. When I saw you in, I've been going to Phoenix for I don't know, maybe 4 years now, maybe once or twice a year for 4 years now, playing that club, and I saw you. What was it? February?
It was. God, was it that?
You know what? It was Super Bowl weekend.
Yes,
so it was.
Right.
Yeah,
right. You guys had like what, 12 people or something like that. That's it. You guys killed it every other night, and then the Super Bowl. It was like.
Yeah, I couldn't believe we had a Super Bowl show. I thought for sure they would be canceled. But believe it or not, we showed up and there were people there. I mean, it wasn't packed, but it was like.
Yeah, you had people.
It's like 40 people. It's like
40 people is a great show
for Super Bowl Sunday.
Exactly.
That's like, man,
40 people for a Super Bowl Sunday show during a pandemic. Yeah, that's a
yeah.
good show.
Arizona don't give a fuck about Tom Brady.
No, this place was just they could give a fuck. Yeah.
Yeah. So I saw you then, and I hadn't been to Phoenix since like I think May of the last year, and I was just like, oh, it's so nice here. The weather's so nice, and we're just like, man, it's coming. It's
coming, and it's bringing hell with it.
Yeah.
It's like it's such a
dry heat,
ridiculously hot place. It's dry. I remember telling some friends of mine from college. They wanted to come out, and they were like, well, we want to come out. And I was like, well, when do you want to come out? They were like, how about, 4th of July weekend? I was like, no, that's stupidest. No, absolutely not. And they were like, come on, we got the time off of work. We can do this. When you're trying to get a group of guys together, and they're like, well, we want to go there. We've never been there. And I was like, look, I don't advise it.
Yeah.
They come. The second they get off the plane, you know what it's like where you open that door and boom, you're hit with this wall of heat. It's just it's like opening an oven,
Yeah.
You open the oven after you've been cooking something, boom, that heat just hits you. And they were like, how come you didn't tell us? I was like, number one, I did tell you. Number two, you can't tell anybody how hot it is because nobody can understand it. Nobody can really put it into any. There's nothing that can put it into perspective. It's ridiculously hot.
It has been getting hotter over the years. Even LA, it was every year was hotter and hotter, and then I think that we have a bunch of comedians there. It's going to hit them this year. Like a bunch of comedians moved to Arizona, Texas. I think that they think they know what summer is. I know what summer is in LA. Yeah, we got to 100 and something too. It's different. We're 100 and something where there's an ocean 20 miles away.
You get a breeze off of Santa Monica. No matter how hot Santa Monica gets, you still have that breeze off the ocean. So it's never that bad. Now, you're in the valley. That's kind of a nightmare.
It gets pretty hot.
Kind of rough. But the thing about LA is not so much that the summers are so hot. Is that the winters and the falls, it gets shorter and shorter, and the rain is less and less. Yeah. And it was like I was... God, in the winter I was hot. Yeah, it was ridiculous. The last couple of winters in LA were really rough because you didn't get to put on a jacket, you didn't get to put on a hoodie, nothing. You were miserable. You were sweating in the sun in the winter.
Yeah, it'd be miserable. Like Thanksgiving and you're all crowded around the table, but with the air conditioners on, people wearing shorts and stuff. It's not like it's not like planes, trains, and automobiles at all.
I know. It's like you want to bundle up. You want to feel something.
Yeah.
I don't. Whatever anybody wants to say about global warming and the changing of the environment, I believe it just because it feels like shit. That's all. That's
Yeah. If speaking of planes, trains, and automobiles, if the little shuttle car dropped you off and your rental car wasn't there, how pissed would you be if you had to walk back in that Arizona heat?
Miserable. How many times have you been at LAX? You park at LAX in lot B or C or whatever that is, and you have no idea where the hell your car is, and you're walking on that asphalt on like a Saturday afternoon, and you can feel the heat coming through your shoes. Yeah, and it's just like, why? Arizona is worse than that, and it's just this is what you got to do. This is the traveling aspect of it. So, God, I hate it.
Well, I wanted to have you on. I wanted to talk about movies with you. Do you still do your movie podcast?
Yeah, once a week. Watch This with Rick Ramos. We talk genre. We talk directors. Last week we talked John Waters, the great cult director, Divine, Pink Flamingos. Later on, we're talking Tenet and Inception. So I'm finally getting to see that because, I didn't want to go to a movie theater. I didn't like the idea of sitting in a theater, even a few people around me. And, I got to tell you the truth. The demise of the movie theaters, although I love going to the movies, I love going to a theater, sitting down, getting the popcorn. Yeah. In the last 10, 15 years, though, you're dealing with people talking way more than they ever did in years past. Cell phones, you're seeing all kinds of lights. Mm-hmm. If you go to the wrong movie, I remember going to see It a couple of years ago, and all these assholes were taking out cameras and shooting the screen during the movie. That I can't handle that kind of shit. I'm losing my mind.
I hate that shit too.
It ruins I'm trying to watch it, and in the corner of your eye you can see, out of the peripheral, you can see this bright shining light that's just shouting out at you, and it just takes away from it. So
I think it depends on the times you go too. I like those. I like those matinees. It's not as crowded. You got all the old people in there. They don't even know how to use their cell phone, let alone in the dark.
You know what? That first screening on a weekday is the best movie you can go to. Yeah. A 10:30, 11 o'clock screening on a Wednesday, there's nothing better than that. But if you're going on a Friday at 7 o'clock, that's your fault. Now you're the asshole for going out there thinking that you were going to have a good time, because that's not what it's going to be.
You can't complain.
Going to see a blockbuster, forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
No way.
What did you think was going to happen? You can't complain.
Exactly.
Dude, I absolutely love going to the movies, and the last several years I've gotten ruined because most of these bigger theaters, these bigger chain theaters, they all have a bar now, and you can take the drink in there. And I got to tell you, bro, I can't go to a movie theater now without having a drink. Like, I got to have like a little cocktail. It's also a great excuse if like the movie's boring. Like if you go with your girl and there's some movie she wants to see and it's boring, you're like, I got to go get a refill. You go to the bar, you hang out there for a little bit.
But think about it. What was stopping you from before going in there with a 6-pack?
I never did that.
Just sneaking a 6-pack in, you know?
Yeah.
We've snuck entire KFC dinner boxes into the movies and just sat there like animals eating and watching the movie and, you know, not caring. And it's like, I get it that there's something cool, but goddamn, what does a cocktail cost you in a bar? It's going to be double that in a movie theater.
It's a little pricey, and they cut you off. They only want you to have 2, and they give you the bracelet. And they that's where they're on principle. I won't drink their goddamn alcohol. You know, no. My wife doesn't drink as much as me. I'll get her bracelet and I'll put it on and be like, give me another 2.
See, that's the way you do it. That's just boom. Tip the guy. He'll keep pouring. He'll keep pouring.
I've been going to the movies in the Valley my whole life. Like, did you see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I saw it, yeah.
Okay, so do you remember when Brad Pitt is going home? He lives in his trailer, and it's
he lives outside of that
the Van Nuys Drive-In.
Yeah,
dude. I used to go to that Van Nuys Drive-In with my family. I grew up going to that Van Nuys Drive-In. Like, and it was kind of cool in the movie that they made it look exactly how I remember. They got the original sign up and everything, and I remember the minivan. Like that was my introduction to movies. Yeah. Everybody else was used to going into a movie theater. For me, I didn't go into a movie theater until I was in my teens. Like, drive-ins were huge when I was little. So I grew up with the drive-in minivan, me and all my sisters, snacks. You know, my parents would always be like, you better take a nap right now because if you fall asleep during this movie, you know what I mean? They would get mad. Yeah. And of course I'd fall asleep during the movie. It's a minivan and you gave me...
You got no power over that.
You got a blanket and some candy. Of course I'm going to pass out.
That's their fault. No, I love the drive-in. I miss the drive-in. One of the best things about the pandemic was drive-ins were coming back. But they weren't on those giant drive-in screens. They were just on some inflatable
those inflatable projectors.
Yeah, so it's not the same.
You can't see so well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a warp in it. There's marks on it. It doesn't.
The wind is blowing.
Yeah, the wind is blowing. That's you need a big white wall. That's what big white wall.
Yeah.
Put it on that, and boom. I think that they would come back and people would be thrilled about it. You know.
Yeah.
Everything is in cycles. I would go to the drive-in. I would love to go to the drive-in. You know, take a date to the drive-in. What would be better than that?
Some stuff that the pandemic brought, I think it's staying. I think people really had a good time with it. Like, I did a drive-in during the pandemic. Me and my wife went to go see The Sandlot, and we just we sat outside. We parked your car, and I parked in reverse. I got an SUV, just lifted the tailgate, and we were just tailgating it. You know,
that's the way to do it. You know, I was talking to Mike Black about that. The great Mike Black. If anybody sees as many movies as I do, Mike Black goes to the movies.
Oh yeah,
and he was telling me about. He was, there was good stuff to see. You had a good time. I was worried about the sound, but he said it worked out okay. So
yeah, the sound's okay. You can actually, a lot of these drive-ins, like they tell you, before you used to have to change to like an AM channel or something. And now a lot of it's like through podcasts. They'll tell you, go download this podcast, and it's live streamed, so you got the sound in your own car speaker.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they'll tell you what channel to tune into.
See, I remember when I was a kid, really young, the box. I remember that you would have to pull the box off.
Yeah.
Whatever thing it was, and attach that to the window.
Attach it to your antenna.
Yeah, you would have to do. Sometimes you would find a spot. You would go to look for the box, and some asshole had pulled the box out of the...
I remember, yeah.
You remember that? And it's just like, now you got to turn the engine back on, put it in reverse, go find somewhere else. Find a fucking primo spot, and some asshole did that,
Yeah.
It's just, there's always been assholes.
I was a kid, but I remember my dad yelling about it once or twice.
There's nothing pissed you off more than that,
Right.
So, yeah.
I actually did see Tenet in a movie theater.
Yeah.
During
did you see IMAX, or did you just see
IMAX?
Okay. How was it?
It was good. That's a movie you want to see in IMAX. I mean, it was during that 1 week where Orange County opened.
Yeah.
And then I went, you know what? I went to the Irvine Spectrum. It's a nice, big, beautiful theater. They do IMAX. They do dine-in. They bring you the food and your drinks and stuff. And I had a great time. We watched Tenet. Did you see it yet?
I'm watching it tomorrow night.
Okay.
I'm going to watch Inception again tonight. Then I'm going to watch Tenet, and then we're going to talk about it Saturday morning.
Oh, okay, cool. I won't tell you too much then, but I like Tenet. It's something you got to see a couple times. You'll miss a lot. It kind of is hard to follow.
Well, Nolan is he's a very challenging director. This guy is not trying to put out simple stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think there's been a film in his filmography that hasn't been the kind of thing that makes you ask questions and
Right.
makes you wonder what the hell was he trying to say with that? What was really going on? He's one of the few guys that is, I think probably him and maybe Fincher are probably the two guys that are allowed to make challenging films, and it's kind of crazy because those guys. You know what's crazy? Nolan and Fincher are both in like their 50s.
Yeah, they're not that old.
But the thing is, we saw them when they were making movies in their 30s.
Crazy,
when they were,
dude.
You know what I mean? Memento,
Uh-huh.
the first Batman films. Fincher. I remember seeing Seven in a theater. I remember seeing Alien 3 in a theater and being, oh, this guy's amazing.
You remember The Prestige?
I love The Prestige.
The Prestige is a good one, man.
Prestige, he's got some really cool shit in that. Where that was when it was there was a battle between which film was going to come first, that Ed Norton film, or The Prestige, and I think neither of them did very well, but The Prestige is the one everybody remembers.
Right?
Yeah.
And Nolan is known for like using guys over and over again that he likes working with. Like he used Bale a bunch, Christian Bale, and then Cillian Murphy. That's what it is, right? It's Cillian Murphy, right?
Is it Cillian? Yeah.
He
was in the second Batman. The first Batman.
The first Batman playing Scarecrow, and he has he's in it for he's in all three of them, but for like a second, and then he brings them back. He uses him in a couple other movies, but have you seen? And he uses Tom Hardy a lot. Have you seen?
Hardy.
I love Tom Hardy, dude. He's like one of my favorite people. He's in Inception also. Have you seen the TV show Peaky Blinders?
You know what? I'm going into the third season right now.
Oh man!
And I'm really digging it because it's like I love gangster shit, and I love that period of time. I like early 1900s. It's like, as much as I love The Godfather Part 2 and Goodfellas, there's something about that early 20s, 30s, 40s, like Miller's Crossing. It's not just a gangster film. It's like a fantasy too at the same time of this.
It's so good.
Oh, it's so fucking good.
It's so entertaining. Plus, they're all great actors. You've gotten to Tom Hardy, right? He's in season 2.
I love Tom Hardy. Yeah.
So he's already shown up in the show, right?
Yeah. He's the Jewish mob.
The Jewish boss. Sullivan, right?
He's got the curls. He's
got the little gang. Dude, Tom Hardy is the best, dude. It's but yeah, you got Cillian Murphy, you got Tom Hardy in that. I absolutely love that show, dude. I describe it as like Sons of Anarchy, but with horses instead of motorcycles. That's basically.
What are they talking about? 2 more seasons? Is that what they're saying? 2 more seasons or 1 more season?
I've only heard of the 1 more, which I think is 5 or 6. How many? Yeah, I think it's 5 or 6. But the chick died. I'm not giving anything away. The real actress died.
The real actress died, and I'm not at the point now to find out, has she died in the show? Are they going to have to write around it? But she just died. A long battle with cancer. So, and she's a
great actress too, man.
I mean, I'm watching her just being overwhelmed by how tough she is and how she commands that screen. And I didn't realize she was in one of the Harry Potter. She was in some of the Harry Potter films.
Oh yeah.
And when I go back to her, and I was like, she was great. What's great about watching that stuff is that you make a mental note. Oh, this is an actor that I want to start looking into.
Right.
This is an actor that I want to start watching some shit from, because if this is what they're delivering, I want to see I want to see the full expanse of what they're capable of. And she's definitely one of Helen McCrory. That's her name, right?
It's Mick something. I don't know if it's McCrory. McCorrick, maybe?
McCrory, I thought it was.
Oh,
yeah.
maybe you're right.
I'm not sure, but I think she's phenomenal. She's great, you know. Her and Sam Neill, the way they were playing off each other. I really dig this show.
It's so good.
Yeah.
I was trying to get
that accent that they have, that guttural.
Yeah. Even the intro song by who's the original singer of that?
The Bad Seed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then sometimes they play different versions of it for each episode. It's gnarly, man.
They were doing that. They were doing that on a.
You're right. It's McCrory.
Yeah. Oh, it's a phenomenal show. I'm really lucky because I'm barely getting into the third season. I know I got 2 more seasons. So I got essentially 3 more seasons before they do that final season.
Yeah.
And I've got nothing going on. So
can I tell you, bro?
Writing, watching movies, doing the podcast. That's it.
I got COVID on Thanksgiving weekend. Okay. I got the vid, bro.
Oh, really?
And
how bad was it?
It lasted me 4 days. Honestly, it wasn't that bad. I had a fever for a couple of days, but it felt like every flu I ever had in my life, except that I lost taste and smell. And for my wife, it lasted like maybe a week or 2. For me, it was literally 4 days. It was the Thanksgiving weekend. It was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then I was like, Sunday, I was like, oh, I can taste this. It's coming back. Yeah, and she was all getting scared, reading too many articles. Like, I may never get my taste back and stuff. You know, she was getting all panicky. And then finally she started, I love spicy food. I'm like, have some of this fucking spicy soup I made. You'll taste it. If you don't taste it, then there's something wrong with you, okay? And but anyway, it was kind of the best Thanksgiving ever because there was no family pressure. I don't eat meat. There was no explaining to my family why I don't eat meat. It was me and my wife for 4 days on Thanksgiving weekend. We sat there, we ate the foods we wanted to eat, and we binged Peaky Blinders. And we had a ball, dude. We had a ball. And even now, her and I are just like, we can't wait for this new season to come out. We keep checking it. And you know, it's extremely sad that the actress passed. I wonder what they're going to do, because I know they were still in the middle of filming the season, so we'll see. But we can't wait. And now we're going like, I'm like starting to forget certain things that happen. I'm like, I'm gonna have to binge it again when the new season comes out.
Now, when you do the binge thing, see, because I go back and forth where it's like I did 3, maybe 4 seasons of NYPD Blue when I was in LA, and then it went off Amazon Prime. So I was like, shit, now I'm not going to be able to finish this show. And then it started playing on Hulu. So I was binge watching it on Hulu. And I kept telling myself, 2 episodes, no more than that. And I would end up watching 6 to 8 episodes a day.
Yeah.
What do you do? I mean, because I tell myself, first of all, if you're watching too many episodes, then they start to blend into each other.
Right.
And you're not paying as close attention on your 4th or 5th episode, and then as you do it more and more every day, you're missing more and more stuff. So between the two of you, how do you guys binge it?
You know what I prefer? I prefer to watch an episode a week. I don't like to watch it everything in a day, because then you get like, well, I got nothing to watch now. I like to make it last.
Exactly.
For that reason, that you want to make it last, and the other reason is I like the old school feeling of like when they used to release 1 episode a week on television, and then you call your friend and be like, did you see it last night? Yeah, what'd you think of that episode? And there's nobody like, well, don't ruin it for me, I haven't seen it yet. It was like, no, we both saw that 1 episode that came out this week, you know what I mean? But sometimes there's a show that's so good and you got time to kill, and it's like, I kind of want to watch another one, and you'll just go for it.
And that's the way you think it's like, what else am I doing right now?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get up. I'm not going to, I'm not going to really do anything right now. I have no responsibilities. Boom. So that's what I'm doing, because I don't have a job right now. I'm not going out and performing right now. So all I have is sitting in the house watching this shit. You know? I'll make dinner for my mom and dad and that'll be it. I'll make dinner, I'll clean up, and then boom, I'm back to watching TV and movies.
On the other hand, you can like catch up on shows that you've been meaning to start if you binge them all. Like have you ever seen Taboo?
That's Tom Hardy.
That's
right?
the Tom Hardy. Like I really want to watch it, but I haven't started it yet. And honestly, there's really nowhere to watch it. I think you got to have like
I think you can get Hulu.
Hulu, I think that's what we got to watch it on, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you're right. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, and that's what I'll do too. Like I'll see a show I want to watch, I'll figure out what network it's on, I'll pay for that network, and then I'll binge it, and then I'll cancel it and go to the next network. Yeah.
That's what I did with Disney Plus. My nephew wanted to watch The Mandalorians, and I wanted to watch The Mandalorians. So I was like, it was in the beginning of the season. I was like, there's no way that I'm gonna pay 2 or 3 months worth of Disney.
Yeah.
No, I'll knock it out in 1 month and just binge the whole thing. And that's what I did. I think it took me about a week. I think it took me about a week to knock out 2 seasons of that. And then while the show was still playing, well, I still had access to the channel.
Yeah.
I knocked out WandaVision too. So
I gotcha.
Did that, and yeah. So
did you like it? I haven't seen it yet either.
I thought it was okay. I didn't rave about it like a lot of people did. I saw they did a lot of really interesting things with it, but I'm not really huge into the Marvel universe.
I'm not either, dude.
But yeah, I mean, it's basically all the same story to me, and it's all CGI, and it's like I was watching you remember Tremors from the 80s, 90s? Remember that? Mm-hmm. Kevin Bacon, yeah. Okay, I'm watching that. And I'm laughing my ass off. And everything is practical. They built a giant worm.
Right.
They built those tentacles. And everything was... There's a big difference. It makes a difference when you're watching it. You invest more into it, There's just something a little bit more dangerous.
Right.
When you're watching practical effects versus all this CGI.
Yeah.
So... I can't really get into all that shit. I love
can't
it
either. My friends are all into it too, and and I was like, "Hey, should I try it? Everybody's loving it. Should I try it?" They're all like, "Bro, you're gonna hate it. We know you. You're gonna hate it."
Yeah, you're gonna hate it. But this is what bothers me the most about it is that my nephew's 13, and he comes from a world and an experience that only knows CGI, and that breaks my heart. Because you don't get the magic of real life. I was watching. I tried to show him parts of Return of the Jedi, and he just couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
But that Jabba the Hutt. If you watch Jabba the Hutt, that's an amazing piece of puppetry. I mean, there must have been about 6 or 7 guys working that.
Right.
And it's something that they'll never do again. And you see how horrible it can be. Like when Lucas went back in and recreated a Jabba the Hutt, it was horrible.
Well, it's a whole other art form that people had to learn how to use these mechanical things or create the scene, and you have one shot. Not everything was special effects. It's like we're literally going to blow up this car, and we only have one car, and we rigged it to explode. Let's get this shot right. Or Universal Studios, when you used to go in the back lot and they'd show you how they did the movie Earthquake, it's still everything still functions. Like the train is on a track and it moves. It's like they built this to get that one shot. They built this thing and it's still there.
This thing was going to collapse. It was going to break down. I mean, it was wonderful the way they used to do that. The model work, the matte paintings, everything looked so amazing. And whatever didn't look real, it has a weird kind of novelty to it that you don't give a shit one way or another. It just looks, it's so beautifully done. I mean, I showed him the Muppet movie, and I'm a big Muppets fan. I love the Muppets. That's our childhood,
Yeah.
And as I watched it, I was like, wow, I know these are puppets. I know they're not real. I know it's just felt. But God damn it, if they don't have real life personalities and exist in a world that is true and honest, and the puppeteers make them so human,
right?
That it's you can watch an hour and a half long movie and be invested in it.
Just
It's amazing
talented people. To go back to Tenet for a second now.
Yeah.
Inception.
Sure.
I remember when people tell me that it was too confusing for them. Inception. I never felt Inception was confusing. On the other hand, the more I watched it, the more I saw. I was like, oh, I missed that last time. You know, of course, you always have that. But I never really found Inception to be that confusing. I thought it was really easy to follow for me personally, and I think it's a great story. Tenet's very difficult to follow, dude. Very difficult. And so I'm interested to see what you'll think. But it's good. Like, the story's good. The acting's good. You know, I kind of want to watch it again.
Yeah. You know, that whole idea of it being confusing, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, though, because especially when you're dealing with, like, dreams and dream altering and that kind of thing, there's supposed to be elements of it that are confusing. What is reality? What is imagined? How are these things being manipulated? It's the whole focus of the story. So when you sell out to the idea that not everything is what you're seeing, or it's not to be taken literally, you have a whole different set of tools that you can play with as far as the narrative is concerned. So the fact that it might be confusing to you as a viewer is okay, because it's confusing to the characters that are within the story. I love that. Yeah. I love when it's playing tricks. I love when things don't necessarily make sense. I love the fact and you don't see the top stop spinning. You don't know. Does it not? Is it a dream? What's going on here, you know?
Well, let me know what you think when you watch it.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm really looking forward to it, because my buddy on the podcast, he told me that it's, in his opinion, it's Nolan's most Tarantino-esque film.
Yeah, you could say that, I guess. In the form of it's not in order. Mm-hmm. It's not in what do they call it? Chronological order.
Yeah, the chronological order. And I don't know. I mean, I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan. I don't think I've seen anything of his that didn't grab a hold of me.
Yeah.
Even Dunkirk, when I watched it, I wasn't really into it, but I was drawn back to it 2 more times. Mm-hmm. I saw it in a theater 2 more times, and I remember just being, not every film do you necessarily embrace lovingly, but sometimes you're just overwhelmed by how well it's done and what is achieved on screen. And I remember the second and third time that I saw it, I was really amazed at the sound design and how all those fighter jets were around you, the guns, the firing, the torpedo, all of that shit, the water. It was a very claustrophobic film, and I just remember being knocked out by it, because I thought, here you have one of the great directors of American cinema right now, and he's working with something with, it's almost like the film was the star, because Tom Hardy was probably the biggest name, maybe Kenneth Branagh or Tom Hardy. Right. And Hardy is not,
he's not in it that much.
He's not in it that much, and what he is in it, he's covered up for a lot of it, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Well, Bane too.
Bane too. Yeah.
You know what, dude? There's 3 movies right now in my life that I can't stop watching. I don't know what it is. It's just like, you know what I mean, though, right? Like, and they're long too. Yeah, put it on. I don't care. I'll watch it over and over. Yeah. And right now, it's Inception, which I think I've seen 3 times in the last 3 months. Okay. And Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen it. Mm-hmm. And the third one is not the most popular of the 3, Dark Knight Rises.
Really?
Yeah, which everybody likes. The Dark Knight with Heath Ledger, of course, that's everyone's favorite. Or the original one, Batman Begins, is a great, origin story. I really love Dark Knight Rises. I love the story. I love Tom Hardy. I love the villains. I love that when you watch it today, it rings so true to what we experienced in the last year. You know, there's certain scenes that are like, you know, outside when they took over Wall Street, with Tom Hardy and his gang took over Wall Street, and they went in there and gassed everybody, and they had masks on, you know, so they wouldn't breathe in the stuff. And dude, I was so like, for a while I was like, Nolan knows everything. Christopher Nolan knows everything. I was telling Simone that weekend when we were sharing the condo, I was like, something's gonna happen this Super Bowl. Remember when they blew up the football field in Gotham? I was like, something's going to happen in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, collapsing behind them. It's great.
I was like, they're going to wait until it. And then remember, they blew it and then trapped all the police underneath. Yeah. And then the city was just ran by them. So for the Super Bowl, every team gave away, I think, like, I forget what it was, like 100 free tickets to the Super Bowl to nurses and doctors, to healthcare workers. And I was like, dude, they're going to trap them all in one place and they're going to blow them all. Like, I literally thought, just follow whatever Christopher Nolan and or Tom Hardy does.
That's a movie guy thinking. How many times have you watched a movie like, they're going to do that? It's going to happen.
I know. And then, like, Zemeckis, too, and you go back and watch a lot of his older stuff. It's like, he predicted a lot of stuff that happened, too. It's crazy.
You see these things in movies, and it's just like, somebody had to think of these, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not too far off from the realm of what can be done. So no, that's, you know, there's a part of you that's like, that's ridiculous, but there's a part of you that says absolutely could happen. It could absolutely happen, you know?
You know, is it art imitating life, or is it life imitating art? And
exactly.
I think art imitates life. I think it's kind of like a circle, you know what I mean? It's like, it constantly goes around, and there's probably a lot of secret stuff that happens in the world that we don't know about, but like the elite know about it, and the elite make movies, and they kind of are letting us know that this crazy stuff is real, and then like it will really happen, and they'll say it was inspired by the movie, you know what I mean? Before we go here, let's talk about like some nominated stuff. This was a weird, I know you said you didn't watch any of the nominated stuff.
Did you watch anything? Because was like,
I did.
You watched them, or you
not
watched
all of them?
Okay.
I watched the ones that I most wanted to see, and there's still a couple that I want to see that are technically not available to rent. Mm-hmm. Like you can rent them at home, but it's still movie theater price, like $20. I'm like, I'm not gonna pay $20. Yeah, I'm waiting for it to be $5.
Well, part of me is like, I would pay that for a DVD, for a Blu-ray. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to pay anything. I'm not going to pay $20 for something that I would get on Blu-ray and have it at home. Yeah. Whereas with a movie theater, I have no problem paying $10, $12, $15.
I'm with you.
For a movie. So I think that's a hurdle that we're not, you know, we're creatures of habit. Human beings are so habitual. We're not going to make that leap, even if it is 4 people watching in a room. It costs like $5 a person, but there's still something. There's a psychological wall there that you just
sit in my house.
I can't get around it. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, sure. I can invite over like 20 friends to watch this movie, and we'll end up paying like 10 cents each. Order some pizzas. You get those
assholes to pony up $4 or $5.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like, how do you know I'm not watching it by myself? Which is where I like to watch movies, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And but anyway, so I watched a few. It was a weird year. Obviously, we didn't even know there was going to be an Oscars. I
was surprised when they decided to have it. I was like, wow, okay.
They had a really small one. Obviously, only if you were nominated, you were invited. Yeah. And everybody had to sit at their tables and stuff. It wasn't at Kodak?
No, it was at Union Station.
It was at Union Station, where they usually do it at the...
I think they do it at the Kodak.
The Kodak, which is now called something else, and I forget what it's called. The Dolby. It's now called the Dolby. But Bryan Cranston was over at the Dolby, and he did they rented that out anyway, and he did like a little presentation for something, and then... But yeah, the actual awards was there. And there was some movies, believe it or not, I saw Nomadland in theaters. I did not know it was going to be nominated. I like Frances McDormand. I think she's a phenomenal actress. The story it seemed like it was going to be something interesting. I don't know if you know what it's about.
I know it's basically a woman who
she's a nomad.
Yeah.
But it was described as like
people that travel, right? They go from place to place, working little shitty jobs here and there to afford the basic
But the way
necessities.
that they sold it was like this woman's husband dies and then she decides to sell everything and become a nomad. And
Yeah.
I thought that we were going to see all that happen. But the movie starts, she's already been a nomad for several years, you know, and it was interesting. It wasn't Best Picture. It wasn't, to be honest with you, I walked out of the theater, got myself a cocktail in the middle of it, and went back and was like, did I miss anything? And she was like, no. You know, she's a phenomenal actress. I believe that she should have won.
Yeah.
The director won like everything. I feel like because of the Asian hate thing, they gave it to that chick. It was I think her directorial debut.
Yeah.
She seems like a very nice person, obviously a great eye for art, and
she's doing either a Marvel film or a DC film right now. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
So
she has a bright future, but
Yeah.
the movie wasn't that good. The movie wasn't that good. I was a little disappointed, to be honest. I did not think it. I saw a lot of other movies that should have been Best Picture.
See, I haven't been to a theater. I think the last movie theater that I went to, maybe in February of last year. So I haven't been to a theater in forever.
Oh, wow.
I don't remember what it was like to go to the movies anymore. February or March, I can't remember.
Well, a lot of the nominated movies are streaming right now, like for free.
Yeah.
Netflix had a bunch. I saw Sound of Metal, which, to be honest with you, it wasn't like the greatest movie I ever saw, but it was. I thought everything I saw so far should have won Best Picture. I thought it was pretty good. The villain from Venom, the Indian guy, he's the lead. I don't know if you know what it's about, but it's about this like metal.
Yeah, he's a metal band. He's losing his hearing, and then
he's going deaf.
Yeah,
That's basically what it's about. It was pretty good. The other one, which what kind of shocked me that I saw, was Promising Young Woman.
Now that one looks really interesting. That looks like that's definitely a Me Too movie. That's a movie
yeah.
time.
It
And,
takes a twist. I'll tell you what, dude. The first half of the movie, I was like, I can't believe this is nominated. The acting is not very good. I thought that. I mean, the main chick, I thought she did a good job, and I guess I'd say she deserves to be Best Actress, or at least nominated. But the first half of the movie, I'm like, this is easily a Hallmark. This is easily a Lifetime film. And, you know, the main dude who is, you know, I don't see that guy being in anything that's an A-listing movie. But tell you what, dude, the second half of the movie snuck up on me, and it was one of those ones where you start thinking about it later, and the next day I was like, damn, that was kind of a crazy movie. The ending blows you away. And so that was still more entertaining than Nomadland. What else did I see? I saw Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, which is
I like that material. I'm a big blues fan.
Yeah.
But you know what? I haven't been in the mood to watch any new movies and watch them on TV for some reason. And Boseman's last performance, I don't know. I've heard good things about it. I've heard bad things about it. I don't know what to think.
The movie itself, it was entertaining. It's based off of a play, and it's like you're watching a play. Okay, it all takes place in one day. It all takes place in this one building. It's very much a play, a very theatrical performance. Now, as far as Best Actor, he should have won, hands down. Absolutely should have won.
Did you see Anthony Hopkins in The Father, though?
See, that's the thing. I didn't see it yet. And we all know Anthony Hopkins is unbelievable.
Hopkins is. I mean, when is Hopkins bad? I don't know.
Yeah, he's not bad. But like, what we haven't seen the movie. Like, I know what the movie is about, and maybe he has like a heart attack or I lost my memory type scene, but I don't see anything that would be like, this is Hopkins' best performance. You know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't seen the movie yet, to be fair, but I was talking to my friends before the Oscars, and they were all like, and they didn't see the movie. They're like, Chadwick died. Chadwick's winning. That's how the Oscars rolls. And I'm like, yeah, you might be right. But after I saw the movie, didn't love the movie, but I was like, Chadwick deserves to win, dead or not. And I couldn't believe they didn't give it to him.
Well, I thought I'm not going to say he's not a great actor. He was a great actor.
Yeah.
I've seen him do some amazing stuff. I mean, he was great in the Spike Lee film, The Five Bloods. He was good in that 21 Bridges movie. He had a weird kind of power on screen. I'm one of the few people that you probably didn't like Black Panther either. I didn't like Black Panther.
I like Black Panther.
It didn't work for me. I was just sitting there. I was like, fucking rhinoceroses. Oh, forget about it. No more.
And I hate Michael B. Jordan, by the way. I am not a Michael B. Jordan guy, and I actually don't mind him in Black Panther. I think that was perfectly suited.
I just thought the film itself was just lacking, and it's part of that is just superhero overload, where it's like, I'm just tired of seeing the same goddamn story without something. Thor Ragnarok did something different. They threw a lot of humor into it,
right?
And Guardians, at least the first Guardians of the Galaxy, was so different from everything that had come before. But
did you see 42?
No, I didn't see 42.
Chadwick plays what's his name?
Jackie Robinson, right?
Jackie Robinson. Yeah, that was like his first leading role, I believe. Mm-hmm. So the kid had range. He didn't even really talk like that. He had his own accent, but he would play American, and then he played the African, and like the kid had range, and there was something about him that you can't take your eyes off.
James Brown. Did you see him play James Brown?
No, I didn't. No.
Oh yeah, he did a movie called Get On Up with God.
Okay, I remember that. I didn't see it though.
That for me was very difficult because I'm a big James Brown fan, and I thought to myself, "There's nobody's going to be able to pull this off." Mm-hmm. I mean, Chadwick Boseman was like 6'1", 6'2". James Brown was like 5'9", maybe.
Yeah.
So you already have that going against you. But when I watched it, he really fell into the role. You could tell that he had studied James Brown, and it wasn't doing an impression. And he did something that was really interesting, where a lot of the film they had James Brown talking directly to the camera, which is a dangerous thing to do. Like, he's narrating his life. But as I was watching it, and from what I know about James Brown, you do get the sense that James Brown was the kind of crazy son of a bitch that would narrate his whole life in his own head. You know what I mean? Like, he would constantly be imagining, like when kids do that, or like you have imagined yourself as a comic doing an interview, talking to somebody, and putting everything out there. This is what that was, and he sold it perfectly. He handled it perfectly. The makeup was bad, the looks of it were kind of bad, but
that's a shame.
Boseman really did.
He's great, dude.
Phenomenal job.
He's great. He's there's some guys you just can't take your eyes off. The Hardy is one of them. Leonardo DiCaprio. It's just like some guys you just can't. Anything that they're in, I'll watch it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's one of those dudes. The other movie I saw, which you probably heard a lot about, is the Trial of the Chicago 7.
Yeah, that was a Netflix thing. Was it any good?
You know what? It was better than Nomadland. And I keep saying that because Nomadland won Best Picture, and it was a bore. It was a bore.
But this was I mean, you can argue it however you want, the validation of the film, but I thought this was a throwaway year. Nobody was really paying attention. I think people will look back on 2020 as they'll look back at the Oscars and they'll be like, really? That one? I didn't even see it.
Yeah.
There's going to be a whole list of movies that people are never going to see.
For sure. I mean, for sure.
You're never going to get, you're just never going to get the chance to. It's never going to, these are movies that are going to slip through the cracks. People are going to, the Sound of Metal, people aren't going to see it.
Yeah, very true. It was a tough year.
Sorry, nobody's going to see it.
Yeah, that's right. That's another nominated one that I wanted to see. Yeah, you're right, dude. It was a throwaway year. We're lucky we got what we got out of it. Yep. But I'll tell you that the Chicago 7 was pretty good. I think that people overhyped Sacha Baron Cohen, and he was nominated for supporting. I didn't buy him. I didn't buy his bullshit, bro. You know what? People think that he did a wonderful performance. Watch it, bro.
Was he playing Abby Hoffman?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he does okay, but everyone's like, "Oh my God, Sacha Baron Cohen! What side of him we never seen before?" You know what he was doing, dude? If you go and watch it, he's doing a really cheesy impression of Christopher Walken. That's all he's doing. It's a Christopher Walken impression with his like New York '70s type hippie. Yeah.
The problem is people nowadays watching movies, they don't have that frame of reference. I mean, I hate to break it to you, but we're old. Remember shit that just when you're watching something, you're like, that asshole stealing this. That's De Niro. That's Pacino.
Right.
This is not an original thing.
Well, plus he comes from a comedy background, and that's such a hack thing to do. Is everyone can do their Christopher Walken, and that's what I mean. You watch it, and you tell me. That's what I felt. I several times I heard it. But anyway, people buy into the smoke and mirrors. You know what I'm saying?
That's all they seem to have, and I just think it was one of those years where I'll tell you right now, 3/4, maybe a quarter of the people that usually watch these movies saw the actual films this year, and I don't know how good the studios were about getting videos out to people and getting out streaming.
Who knows?
Because it's weird now. It's just so fucking crazy out there. This is the first time in probably 25 years that I didn't even watch I didn't even make an attempt to watch it. I was just like, fuck it. I haven't seen anything. There's no point to it.
It wasn't that good. There wasn't even a red carpet, really. There was just like, you guys all got to stand in this outside area 6 feet apart, and then we'll let you in. Yeah.
Were there any montages in memoriam? I heard they fucked up the in memoriam.
They did the memoriam, They didn't do any montages. They did stupid stuff where people would come out. They did like a trivia. They had a DJ. It was like in living color. Like off to the side, there was the DJ up there. Like they did a trivia where they went and walked around the room, asked the actors to name like a song. What movie was this from, or something like that. Yeah. It was a pretty lame Oscars. No host.
I will say this much though. Every time I did, because I was switching through channels at that point, and you're going to stop here and there, and I would stop every once in a while, and every time that they had somebody on stage to accept an award, it was a political statement.
Yeah,
like 100 times worse than it. I think I went through the channels maybe 5 or 6 times, and every time somebody was talking about the need for awareness and wokeness, and they were specifically talking about awareness and wokeness and police brutality, and a lot of shit, and it's just like.
It was a lot of one-sided opinions from people who are really uninformed.
Incredibly uninformed.
You know who surprised me, and I've never really been the biggest fan of his because I think his movies are kind of bad, is Tyler, what's his name? Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry, they gave him an award.
His movies are shit.
His movies are shit. His movies are shit. Yeah. But, it's like family stuff and stuff like that. And I've never really liked him because I always thought he was kind of cheese anyway. But anyway, they gave him a humanitarian award, I guess, for, I guess he donated a lot during the pandemic and helped out a lot of families and stuff. And they gave him the award. And his speech, I kind of didn't mind. He was the most anti-hate. The problem is, like, with these people who want to do a woke speech, you're very hate. You're very let's fight hate with hate. Yeah. And it's like you guys are almost like an oxymoron. Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's counterproductive. And his was the most, pro-love. He went up there and said, like, I'm not going to hate you because you're black or you're Mexican or you're Asian or you're white. He's like, I'm not going to hate you because you're a cop. He was like, I don't hate every cop because you're a cop. You know what I mean? Like, he's like, it's all about love. Like, you got to just spread love. Like, I really liked his message that he brought to it. I would say that's one thing to go look up and watch. But yeah, dude.
It was frustrating. I mean, I would go from channel to channel. I would look at it and be like, oh, Jesus Christ, what are they doing?
It's always that, Anthony Hopkins didn't even accept his award. He was like, man, I'm like 80. I ain't getting the vid.
Yeah, I'm not coming out there for that shit. I'm not getting on a fucking plane flying out there. And it's like, and who can blame him, But
yeah,
I want to see the film. I want to see, and I eventually will see these movies, but there was no rush. Mm-hmm. Plus, I really didn't know there was going to be an Oscars until about
day before.
I didn't know. I was like, they're doing that this year? What the really? Wow. I had heard that some films had been nominated, but I didn't know. I really didn't know they were going to do anything.
There was some good stuff, man. I would say, like, definitely Sound of Metal, definitely The Chicago 7, and definitely, if you want to see Chadwick's performance, that movie's very short anyway. It's only 90 minutes, I'd say. And then, what was the other one? The Promising Young Woman, I think, is something that you should at least watch. It's kind of crazy what they did with it.
When they start streaming on Prime for free, or they go to a reasonable price, I'll get them.
I think that most of those are. Most of those are on Prime for free or Netflix for free. I think that I paid $5 for Promising Young Woman, but it's probably going to be out cheaper than that pretty soon. Let me know when you end up watching. I want to watch The Father, and I'll let you know what I think.
I'll let you know.
I'm curious to know what you think if you watch some of these. So we'll have you back on if you ever watch them. I'm curious. We'll talk.
Let me knock them out, and I'll be back on.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks, dude. Thanks for tuning in here, and thanks for coming on and being a guest. I respect your knowledge in movies, and
thank you.
And I hope that you start watching more of them, and you go out, you start getting out there to watch some movies.
I'll go back outside after.
Let me know.
So many series.
Let me know when you finish Peaky Blinders. I want to know what you think, how it ended.
Will do. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Always, dude. Because with season 4 and season 5, how they end, it's like I want to know your opinion on it. So
I'm looking forward to it. I want to see how this plays out.
It's so fun. It's so good, man. I want to go back and binge it. I got a 16-hour flight to Dubai. I think I might go back and binge either Stranger Things or that.
There's a lot more violence in Peaky Blinders. I just Peaky Blinders.
Yeah, on an airplane, just orgies and fucking.
Think about it a little bit. Should be a good time.
Thanks for coming on, dude. I hope I see you soon next time out there in Phoenix. Stay cool.
Let me know.
Stay hydrated.
Out here. I will.
My best to your family, bro, and it's good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. You can go ahead and log off, and I'll peace out to these people.
Cool.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks a lot for everything.
Good
Take
to
care.
See you. You too.
Well.
Rick Ramos, everybody. So good to see that guy. I saw him, like we were saying. I was in Arizona. He moved to Arizona at the beginning of the pandemic, but I saw him when I was doing the House of Comedy in Phoenix with Steve Simone. We all met up for lunch. It's great seeing that guy and catching up. It's always great to talk. I just love talking movies with people. So let me take these off because you guys see my little ring light and the reflection. But anyway, you guys, I stand by what I said there with, you can't fight hate with hate. And I'm behind anybody that promotes love, which is the only thing that's going to get us through anything. So make sure you're doing a lot of that. And that's the reason I call my tour this year Only Love Can Save the World Tour. Speaking of which, I'm probably on it right now. These are pre-recorded, so I'm probably in Dubai. Tickets for all my shows, including Dubai and including my June dates, I might be coming to a place near you, are all available at homeschooled.com. Homeschooled.com. Click on tour, or you can click on merch and get the t-shirts like the Only Love Can Save the World t-shirt and the Document the Journey t-shirt. We also have the Ex-Presidents, which is designed after the Point Break. It's me and Kevin Lyons, the co-host of Homeschooled Podcast, wearing the Ex-President's mask. It's a kind of a dope-ass logo. You can get it in a sticker, a t-shirt, hoodies, whatever. It's awesome. And we really appreciate the support. So if you can, please pick up a t-shirt, sticker, mug, anything. We just love it. It lifts our spirits and it keeps us going. And we're happy to keep going. We're happy to keep getting the podcast guests on here for you. And that's it, everybody. I'll see you guys next time. I hope you enjoy the show. Make sure you check out Rick Ramos' show. It's Watch This with Rick Ramos. It's a great podcast if you love hearing about movies. And continue to stop by here. While you're on my website, homeschoolpod.com, you can also click on Contact and send me an email directly. Those go right to me, and I do my absolutely best to respond to them as quickly as I possibly can. So if you want to talk comedy, you want some advice on stand-up or anything, or if you just want to say, hey, I'm here for you. So you can do that as well. And make sure, the best way to reach me is on social media. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Everything is at Augustino Zoida. And I'll be looking out for you guys. I'll see you wherever you are. If you guys start following me on social media, I'll make a point to try to go out there and do shows in your town. So I really appreciate the support. Once again, it's homeschoolpod.com. I'm Augustino Zoida. This is Homeschooled Podcast. Don't forget that Only Love Can Save the World. We'll see you guys next time. Peace. Homeschooled Podcast. Homeschool.
The Homeschool Podcast. Why? Because he was homeschooled.
I don't want to do that.
No, okay.
I don't want to do that at all.